Depths of Sanity is an underwater Metroidvania game focused on the story with methodical combat, and it just exited early access. I'm really enjoying this game, although driving an underwater sub does have its issues, as you might expect. It's not very agile, and it moves pretty slowly. So you will want to go into a situation carefully from a distance and try and defeat any fish from far enough away. Some of the fish like this one will just swim back and forth, others shoot at you. There are sharks, those things are crazy aggressive, but I feel kind of bad. I know they're digital fish, but I feel pretty bad that I'm killing these fish, and I don't really think fish are normally this aggressive. Obviously something weird is going on here, but it does feel a little wrong to sneak up on some clownfish or this pufferfish right here and just blast it to death. As I said before, Depths of Sanity is focused on the story. This is actually a slight spoiler, but it's a retelling, so everything here has already happened, and you're somewhere else after retelling the story and reliving it, but then playing through it through flashbacks. Because it's a Metroidvania, there's a strong focus on the minimap. You'll want to be watching it to see where the exits to each room are and if you can pass through them. Blue means you can, purple means something else, and yellow is one I haven't gotten through yet. There are many things to upgrade your sub, I'll get to that, but do note that you'll want to explore every single part of the map, which is why it's so important to keep an eye on it. Some Metroidvanias lean heavier on the map than others. I appreciate the map because I hate getting lost, so I can just keep watching the map and I'll know where to go next. So you'll want to explore to find hull pieces, which are in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. You can collect these pieces and you'll get another 100 points of health, which is to the right of that, the 99 I have currently. This is really how the game balances the difficulty, because there's almost no way to avoid some damage that you're going to take. So you will be getting hit a lot, but the game makes up for it by forcing you to search for these hull pieces to increase your hull strength, and therefore just overcome it by sheer amount of health. This isn't really my favorite way to deal with it, but I understand they really couldn't adjust the sub to be faster or anything like that. It would kind of throw off the way the game played, but it does mean that some of the bosses or more difficult sections of the game turn into a health check, really a gate that you have to have this amount of health before you can pass, which will be different for every person because it depends on how good you are at rotating the sub or shooting. Other than that, there are different kinds of weapons like these bouncing balls. I eventually get a drill, I have missiles, but let's talk about this dark area. It is real dark, and the game forced me to go through this first without a flashlight. You do eventually get a little flashlight on the front of your ship, but it does not light up enough, nearly enough, to be able to see in the darkness. For me, I found these sections to be quite annoying because I don't like bouncing around in the dark when there's tons of floating things moving around. It just doesn't feel good, and it's impossible to make it through on skill. It drives me nuts. Oh yeah, and that drill I just found is required to get to new areas. So you are looking for items to unlock doors to get to new areas, just like other Metroidvanias, because that's what this is. Anyway, I wanted to show off that you can get out of the submarine. At the beginning, you can only get out a very small amount. There's like a hose that's connected to the sub, and then later on you get upgrades to that to be able to reach further, which is a really cool feature. I wish they used a little bit more. It's really just to get objects around a corner. Moving on to bosses, and I'm a little surprised the game has them considering the slow and methodical combat. But what I realized is these are the fastest part of the game. You will have to be significantly on your toes to move around and dodge what's happening. This first boss is a bit of a challenge, but I wouldn't consider it to be impossible. It's slow enough moving. But the second boss is where I got completely blocked up, and it is really hard. Everything's moving too fast for this submarine, and I find it to be quite tricky to place the sub when a boss is sliding down across the screen at such a pace where I'm not prepared to move the slow-moving sub. Maybe I missed an upgrade. I do appreciate the bosses are in the game, and They are quite good to vary up the gameplay. They provide the real challenge of the game. Another thing driving the story besides the cutscenes are these crew logs. You will find them floating in the depths, and you can collect them and read them to see what the crew is feeling at certain points of their journey along the same path you're taking. They do add some world building because you can see that the crew is emotionally changing as they went on their journey. This is a creepy world that I'm intrigued by, but the characters are fairly shallow. Overall, Depths of Sanity is quite good, and I enjoyed it very much. If I didn't get stuck on that boss or have an insane stack of games to play through, I would keep playing this. I thoroughly enjoyed the unique take of the underwater world and driving a submarine. It's quite different than the other Metroidvanias that have you running super fast through every level. This one slows it down. It forces you to cautiously enter each room and navigate it in a way that every area is dangerous. Now, the game does take away some of this danger with the insane amounts of hull that you will be collecting. Still, the complete package of this game is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend checking it out. As always, I have some exciting videos coming up soon, so hit subscribe and check out the Steam Curator link in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.